Breathe, damn it, breathe. Elena's fist slammed into the dead woman's chest. Again, again, again. 9 minutes. Maggie Stone had been underwater for 9 minutes. No pulse, no breath. Blue lips, gray skin. The Hells Angels surrounded them. 50 bikers, grown men crying like children. The most dangerous club in America, helpless. She's gone, someone whispered. Let her go. Shut up. Elena was 19, homeless, starving. She'd been hiding under a dock 10 minutes ago, invisible to the world. Now she was trying to resurrect a stranger married to a man who could kill her with his bare hands. Compression 30, breath 1, breath 2, nothing. Come back, and then a cough. Subscribe now. Stay until the end. Comment your city below. I want to see how far this miracle travels. Hunger has a sound. Elena learned that 3 days ago. It starts as a growl, then it becomes a whine. Then when your body finally understands that food isn't coming, it goes quiet. That's the dangerous part. The quiet. Elena pressed her fist against her stomach and watched the bikers through the rotting wood. Hell's Angels, 20, maybe 30 of them, laughing, eating, living. The smoke from their grill carried the smell of burgers straight to her hiding spot under the old dock. Her mouth flooded with saliva. Stop it, she whispered. Just stop. Her stomach didn't listen. It never listened. 11 days on the run. 11 days since she'd crawled out of Carl Peterson's basement window at 3 a.m. while he snored upstairs drunk on whiskey and his own sickness. 11 days since she'd decided death on the road was better than life in that house. So far, she'd been right. Barely. So, yo, Brick, grab me another beer. Elena flinched. The voice came from the dock above her head. Heavy boots, maybe 6 feet away. She stopped breathing. Get it yourself, asshole, another voice shot back. I ain't your prospect no more. Laughter, the boots shifted. You see Maggie today looking good for 60. She's 58, dipshit. Whatever, point is, Iron Mike's a lucky son of a bitch. 31 years with that woman. She's the only reason he ain't killed half the state by now. More laughter. Elena's lungs burned. She needed air. Heard she's got heart problems. Yeah, Doc says she shouldn't swim no more, but you know Mags. Stubborn. As a goddamn mule. The boots walked away. Elena exhaled slowly, carefully. Maggie. Heart problems. Shouldn't swim. She filed the information and forgot about it. Not her problem. Not her people. She was nobody. A ghost. Here today, gone tomorrow. That was the plan. That was always the plan. The silver-haired woman moved through the crowd like she owned it. Because she did. Elena watched through the cracks in the wood as Maggie Stone, property of Iron the Vest, said, handed plates to children, kissed weathered cheeks, laughed at dirty jokes. She had to be nearly 60, but she moved like someone half that age. Confident. Alive. Something twisted in Elena's chest. Not hunger this time. Something worse. She remembered her mother moving like that. Before the heroin, before the needles, before the motel bathroom floor. Maria Reyes had been beautiful once, confident once, alive once, then she wasn't. Elena blinked hard, shoved the memory down. Don't think about her. Don't think about anything. Just survive. That's all she had to do. Survive until the bikers left. Eat their scraps. Keep moving north. Simple. The sun dropped lower. The party got louder. Elena's eyes grew heavy. Her body screamed for rest. She hadn't really slept in 3 days. Little naps here and there and one eye always open. Maybe she could close her eyes for just a minute. Just 1 minute. The bikers were busy. The music was loud. No one would notice one small girl hiding in the shadows. She let her head drop against the wooden beam. Just 1 minute. The dream came fast. She was 12 again, standing outside the motel bathroom, knocking on the door. Mommy, the show's over. Can we get food? Nothing. Mommy, she pushed the door open. Maria Reyes was on the floor, eyes open. Not seeing, needle still in her arm. Elena screamed, but her mother's dead lips moved anyway. Why didn't you save me, mija? Why? Elena jerked awake. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Sweat dripped down her neck. Just a dream. Same dream. Always the same splashing. Wrong splashing. Her head snapped up. Through the gaps in the woods she saw it. The center of the lake. Maggie Stone. The woman's arms weren't swimming anymore. They were fighting, thrashing, losing. Her head went under, came up, went under again. No. Elena's voice was barely a whisper. No, no, no. The music was so loud. Classic rock. Something about highways and hell. The bikers sang along, drinks in the air, backs to the lake. Nobody saw. Maggie's head broke the surface one more time. Her mouth opened, a scream that couldn't compete with the speakers. Then she went under, and she didn't come back up. Elena's heart stopped. 1 second, 2, 3. The water smoothed out like nothing had happened. 4, 5, 6. Help! Elena screamed. Somebody! The music swallowed her voice whole. 7, 8, 9, 10. Nobody turned around. Nobody heard. Nobody saw. Elena's whole body shook. Not my problem. Not my people. Stay hidden. Stay safe. 15 seconds. That's the rule. That's always been the rule. 20 seconds. But then she thought about Jenny. Jenny Marsh, 14 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes, Carl Peterson's favorite before Elena arrived. Elena had seen the bruises, heard the crying through the walls, and at night, she'd said nothing, done nothing, stayed safe. 3 weeks later, Jenny was in the hospital. Broken jaw, cracked ribs, fell down the stairs. That's what everyone believed. That's what Elena let them believe. 25 seconds. Jenny's face flashed through her mind. Pale, broken, betrayed. You knew, Jenny had whispered when they finally saw each other again. You knew and you didn't help me. Elena never answered. There was nothing to say. 30 seconds. The water was still, perfectly, horribly still. Elena looked at her backpack. Everything she owned. $43. Her clothes. Her mother's rosary. If she went out there, she'd lose it all. They'd find her hiding spot. They'd find her stuff. They'd find her. And then what cops? Social services. Back to Denver. Back to Carl. Back to that basement. 35 seconds. Her hands gripped the wood so hard she felt splinters pierce her skin. Don't do it. Don't you dare do it. But her mother's voice cut through the fear. El agua es vida y muerte, mija. Water is life and death. One day, the water might need you to save someone. 40 seconds. Damn it, Elena hissed. She kicked off her shoes. Toi. The water hit her like a slap. Cold. So cold. Montana in October and the lake already tasted like winter. Elena gasped, then forced her legs to move. Swim. Just swim. Her muscles screamed. 4 days without food had turned her body into a traitor. Every stroke was agony. But she kept going, behind her, shouting, "Who the hell is that? Someone's in the water. Iron Mike, Iron Mike." Elena didn't look back. Couldn't look back. 50 seconds since Maggie went under. 60. She reached the spot, nothing but ripples, her lungs filled with air, and she dove. Darkness. The lake water was green and brown and black. Visibility less than 5 feet. Elena kicked deeper. Hands reaching, grasping, finding nothing. Weeds wrapped around her ankles. She yanked free. Deeper, deeper. Her ears popped. Pressure building. Her lungs started to burn. Where is she? Where is she? Nothing. Just cold and dark and nothing. She had to go back up. Elena broke the surface, gasping, coughing. There, someone screamed from shore. There's a girl out there. Heavy splashes. Someone else was swimming now. But they were too far, too slow. Elena filled her lungs again and went back down. Swam. This time she kicked until her legs burned, deeper than before. The light fading, the cold biting through her skin. Her hands swept through the darkness. Weeds, mud, nothing, nothing, no cloth. Lena's fingers closed on fabric. She pulled an arm, a body, Maggie. The woman lay on the lake floor, eyes closed, silver hair floating around her head like a halo. Not moving, not breathing. Elena grabbed her under the arms and kicked. Nothing happened. Maggie was heavier than she expected. Dead weight. And Elena was so weak, so tired, so empty. She kicked again. Harder. They rose 2 feet, then stopped. Her lungs were screaming now. Black spots exploded in her vision. She wasn't going to make it. They were both going to die down here in the cold and the dark and the nothing. And nobody would even know her name. Saying, "Kick, mija," her mother's voice, clear as a bell. "I didn't teach you to swim, so you could drown." Elena's legs moved. One more kick. One more. They rose. Slowly at first, then faster. The light above grew brighter. Her vision was going black at the edges. Lungs on fire, heart slamming. Just a little more. Just a little, they broke the surface. Bam! Elena choked on air and water at the same time. Maggie's head lolled against her shoulder. The woman's face was blue, her lips were gray. "Help!" Elena screamed. Her voice was raw, broken. "Help me!" Chaos on the shore, people running, yelling, splashing into the water. A massive shape cut through the lake toward her, Iron Mike, his face twisted with terror. Behind him others, big men in leather, swimming hard. Elena's arms were failing. She couldn't hold on. Couldn't. "I got her." Huge hands grabbed Maggie, pulled her away. Another pair grabbed Elena. "I got you, kid. Hold on." The shore rushed toward them. Elena's feet touched bottom. She stumbled, fell, got dragged upright. And then she saw Maggie on the sand. Blue face, gray lips, chest not moving, still not breathing. 2 minutes underwater. Maybe more. Maggie, Iron Mike collapsed beside his wife. "Baby, no day." Someone was crying. Someone was praying. Someone was screaming for a doctor, for 911, for God himself. But nobody was doing anything. Elena shoved through the crowd. "Move." Nobody heard her. "Move!" The leather wall parted. She dropped to her knees beside Maggie's body. "I know CPR," she said. "Everybody back up, now." Iron Mike grabbed her arm. His eyes were wild, desperate, broken. "Save her," he begged. This giant of a man, this legend, this monster begging a teenage girl he'd never seen before. "Please, please save her." Elena didn't answer. She was already working. 30 compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Her arms shook. Her whole body shook. 12, 13, 14. Come on, come on. 27, 28, 29, 30. 2 breaths. Maggie's chest rose. Fell. Nothing. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. "How long was she under?" Elena demanded. "I don't know," Iron Mike's voice cracked. "I don't. 2 minutes, 3, 15, 16, 17. Too long. Way too long. She's gone," someone whispered behind her. "It's been too—" "Shut up," Elena hissed. 28, 29, 30. 2 breaths. Nothing. No. 3 minutes of CPR. Elena's arms were on fire. Her vision blurred. "Come on, Maggie, come on." 4 minutes. Someone tried to pull her away. "Kid, it's over. You tried." "Get off me." She shoved them back. Kept going. 5 minutes. Iron Mike was on his knees holding his wife's cold hand, tears streaming down his face. "Take me instead," he prayed. "God, please, take me instead. She's everything. She's everything." 6 minutes. Lena's arms gave out. She collapsed forward. No, she couldn't stop. She couldn't. "Let me help." A woman knelt beside her. 40s, hard face, kind eyes. "I'll do compressions," the woman said. "You do breaths. Go." Elena nodded, couldn't speak. The woman pressed down on Maggie's chest. 1, 2, 3, Elena counted with her. Whispered the numbers like a prayer. 7 minutes, 29, 30. Elena breathed into Maggie's mouth. Nothing. 8 minutes. "She's gone," someone said. Not cruel, just tired. "Not yet," Elena growled, her mother's voice again. "You fight, mija. You fight it until you can't fight anymore." 29, 30, 2 breaths, nothing. 9 minutes. "It's over, kid." "It's not." 29, 30. Elena leaned down, put her mouth over Maggie's, and prayed to a God she wasn't sure she believed in anymore. "Please, please, I can't watch someone else die. Please." She breathed. "Idea." Maggie coughed. Water erupted from her mouth. Her chest heaved. Her eyes flew open, wild, confused, alive. She breathed. Maggie! Iron Mike pulled her into his arms, sobbing like a child. Oh God, baby, oh God! The crowd exploded, cheering, crying, hugging. Elena sat back on her heels. Her whole body was shaking. Her vision was going gray. She'd done it. She'd actually done it. 9 minutes underwater, and Maggie Stone was alive. You know, Iron Mike said, looking at Elena. His face was wet with tears. Who are you? Elena opened her mouth to answer, but the words wouldn't come, because the world was tilting sideways now, the sky spinning, the ground rushing up. Hey, kid! Hands reached for her. Too late. Elena's eyes rolled back, and the last thing she heard before the darkness took her was a voice she hadn't heard in 7 years. Rest now, mija. You did good. You did so good. Mama. The beeping woke her first, steady, rhythmic, annoying. Elena's eyes fluttered open. White ceiling, fluorescent lights, the smell of disinfectant and industrial soap. Hospital. She tried to sit up. Her body refused. Easy, honey, easy. A woman's voice, unfamiliar. Elena's head rolled to the side. A figure sat in the chair next to her bed. 40s, red hair streaked with gray, hard face, kind eyes. The woman from the lake, the one who'd helped with CPR. There she is, the woman said, smiling. Thought you were going to sleep forever. Elena's throat felt like sandpaper. How long? 6 hours, give or take. The woman leaned forward. I'm Vicky. Most people call me Vice. Elena tried to process. 6 hours. Hospital. IV in her arm. Then it hit her. My backpack. She tried to sit up again. Failed again. Where's my backpack? I need everything I have is in there, please. Hey. Vicky's hands pressed gently on her shoulders. Relax, it's safe. Some of the boys found it right where you left it, under the dock. Elena's heart was racing. The monitor beside her bed proved it. Beep, 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 beep. You're sure they found it? Positive. Brick's got it. Big guy tattoos everywhere. He's guarding it like it's full of gold. Elena sank back into the pillow. Relief flooded through her. $43, her mother's rosary, the only things in the world that mattered. Safe. The woman, Elena said. Maggie, is she alive and talking? Vicky grinned in. Thanks to you. 9 minutes underwater and not a lick of brain damage. Doctors are calling it a miracle. Iron Mike's calling it something else. What you? Elena didn't know what to say to that, so she said nothing. Vicky studied her for a long moment. Her eyes were sharp, seeing things Elena didn't want seen. So, Vicky said finally, you want to tell me who you are? Or should I guess? Elena's stomach clenched. I'm nobody. Nobody doesn't dive into a freezing lake to save a stranger. Nobody doesn't do CPR for 9 minutes straight on arms that look like they haven't had a good meal in weeks. Vicky paused. Nobody has a name, sweetheart. What's yours? Silence. The heart monitor beeped. Elena weighed her options. Lie, run, fight. But she was too tired to lie, too weak to run, too broken to fight. Lena, she whispered. Lena Reyes. Vicky nodded slowly. Elena, that's pretty. Spanish. My mother was from Mexico. Elena's jaw tightened. She's dead. I'm sorry. Don't be, it was a long time ago. Another silence. Longer this time. Vicky leaned back in her chair. The doctor checked you out while you were sleeping, said you're severely malnourished, dehydrated, exhausted. Your blood sugar was so low it's a wonder you were conscious at all, let alone swimming across a lake and doing CPR. Elena stared at the ceiling, said nothing. He also said you've got bruises, old ones, some on your ribs, some on your wrists, some in places that made him real quiet when he came out of the room. Elena's whole body went rigid. I don't know what you're running from, Vicky said softly. I don't know who hurt you, but I know that look in your eyes, Elena. I've seen it in the mirror. Elena turned her head, met Vicky's gaze. You're a runaway, Vicky said. It wasn't a question. And whoever you're running from, they're bad. Real bad. Tears burned Elena's eyes. She blinked them back. She hadn't cried in years. She wasn't about to start now. Please don't call anyone, she heard herself say. Please, I can't go back. I can't. I'll die before I go back. Hey, Vicky's hand closed over hers, warm, strong. Nobody's calling anyone. You hear me? Nobody. But I was 16 when I ran. Vicky's voice dropped. My stepfather had habits, bad ones, ones that involved my bedroom door opening at 2 a.m. when my mother was working nights. She paused. I know exactly what you're running from, Elena. And I'm telling you right now, you're safe here. Elena stared at her. This stranger, this biker's wife, this woman who had no reason to help her. Why, Elena whispered, you don't even know me. Vicky smiled, but it was sad. Because someone helped me once. Some crazy old biker picked me up on the side of the road in Oklahoma, fed me, and told me I didn't have to go back. Gave me a choice I didn't know I had. She squeezed Elena's hand. Now I'm giving you the same choice. The tears came then. Elena couldn't stop them. Didn't even try. She cried for the first time since her mother's funeral. Maybe the first real cry since before that. And Vicky just held her hand and let her fall apart. The door opened. Elena jerked back, wiping her face with the back of her hand. Her heart jumped. But it wasn't a cop. Wasn't a social worker. It was Iron Mike Stone. He filled the doorway like a mountain. 6'4", maybe 6'5". Barrel chest, arms like tree trunks. Gray beard covering half his face, tattoos covering the rest. His eyes were red-rimmed. He'd been crying too. She awake. His voice was gravel and smoke. Just woke up, Vicky said. Take it easy on her, Mike. She's been through hell. Iron Mike walked slowly to the bed. Each step deliberate, heavy. Lena's heart hammered. She'd seen men like this before. Big men, dangerous men, men who hurt. But Iron Mike stopped at the foot of her bed, and then he did something Elena didn't expect. He bowed his head. I owe you a debt, he said. A debt I can never repay. My wife is alive because of you. 31 years I've loved that woman. 31 years she's been my whole world, and you gave her back to me. Elena didn't know what to say. I couldn't let her drown. You could have. Mike looked up, his eyes bored into hers. Most people would have. You didn't know her, didn't know any of us. Hell, you were hiding from us, and still you dove into that water. Elena looked away. Anyone would have done the same. No, Mike's voice was sharp. They wouldn't. I've lived in this world for 62 years. I know what people do and don't do. What you did, that's rare. That's precious. That's family. The word hit Elena like a punch. Family. She hadn't had family since she was 12 years old. The boys found your backpack, Mike continued. Under the dock. They also found where you'd been sleeping. For how long? Elena's jaw tightened. Does it matter? It matters to me. Mike stepped closer. How long have you been on the road, Elena? Silence. How long, bow? 11 bows. To Mike nodded slowly. Running from what? Elena's whole body tensed. I don't want to talk about it. Fair enough. You don't have to tell me, but I've got eyes. He paused. And I've got a daughter. She's grown now, lives in Seattle. But I remember when she was your age. If someone was doing to her what I think someone was doing to you, his hands clenched into fists, I'd kill them. Elena believed him, every word. Here's what's going to happen, Mike said. Maggie wants to meet you, properly. She's 3 doors down. When you're strong enough, they signed him on her, and then we're going to have a talk about what comes next. What comes next? That's up to you. Mike's eyes softened, just a little. But you should know the club voted. Unanimous. You're under our protection now. FFO, angels, forever, forever angels. Elena frowned. What does that mean? It means, Vicky said, squeezing her hand, that you're not alone anymore. It means whatever you're running from, it's not chasing you anymore, because now it has to go through us. Elena looked from Vicky to Iron Mike and back again. These people didn't know her, didn't owe her anything, but they were offering her something she'd stopped believing existed. Safety. I don't understand, she whispered. Why would you do this for me? Iron Mike smiled. It transformed his face, made the monster look almost gentle. Because you did it for us first. A nurse came in then, young blonde, all business. Mr. Stone, visiting hours are technically over. 5 more minutes. It wasn't a request. The nurse hesitated, then nodded and left. Mike turned back to Elena. Get some rest. Eat something when they bring it. And when you're ready, come meet my wife. She's been asking for you since she woke up. He walked to the door, stopped, turned back. One more thing. Whatever your last name was before whatever family let you down, that's done. From now on, you've got a new family. You've got us. Then he was gone. Elena stared at the empty doorway. Her mind was reeling. Is he serious? She asked Vicky. As a heart attack. Vicky stood stretched. Get some sleep, honey. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. You're leaving. Just for a bit. Gotta update the others. They're all out in the waiting room. Been there for hours. She grinned. You've got about 30 bikers who want to shake your hand. Better rest up. She walked to the door. Paused. Elena. Yeah. You did good today. Real good. Your mama would be proud. Then she was gone too. And Elena was alone. She lay there in the quiet room listening to the beep of the heart monitor, trying to process everything that had just happened. 12 hours ago, she'd been hiding under a dock, starving alone, invisible. Now she had, a biker gang claiming her as family. It didn't make sense. Nothing made sense. But for the first time in 11 days, for the first time in years, Elena didn't feel afraid. She closed her eyes, and for the first time since her mother died, she slept without nightmares. The food came at 7 a.m., scrambled eggs, toast, orange juice, oatmeal, a little cup of fruit. Elena stared at it like it was made of gold. Go ahead, honey, the nurse said. Doctor's orders, you need to eat. Elena picked up the fork. Her hands were shaking. The first bite of eggs was the best thing she'd ever tasted. She ate slowly, even though every instinct screamed at her to shove the food in as fast as possible. She'd learned the hard way what happened when you ate too fast after starving. Throwing up precious food was a waste she couldn't afford. Halfway through the meal, there was a knock at the door. Elena tensed, but it was just Vicky carrying a plastic bag. Morning, sunshine. How you feeling? Better? Elena swallowed another bite of toast. Still tired? I bet. Vicky held up the bag. Brought you some clothes? The ones you were wearing are pretty much ruining. Lake water and blood don't make for a good look. Elena looked at the bag. You didn't have to do that. I know, I wanted to. Vicky set the bag on the chair. Whenever you're ready, Maggie's asking for you. No pressure, whenever you feel up to it. Elena set down her fork. I'm ready now. You sure you just woke up? I'm sure. Something in her voice made Vicky stop arguing. She nodded. All right, let me get a wheelchair. I can walk. Doctor says, I can walk. Vicky smiled. Stubborn, I like that. All right, let's go. The walk to Maggie's room was only about 30 feet, but it felt like a marathon. Elena's legs shook with every step. Vicky stayed close, ready to catch her if she fell. They passed a waiting room on the way. Elena caught a glimpse of leather vests, tattooed arms, hard faces turned soft with worry. One of them saw her, a big bald guy with a skull tattooed on his neck. That's her, he said. That's the girl. The room went quiet. Then one by one the bikers started to stand. Elena froze. 20, maybe 30 of them, rising like a wave of leather and ink. And then they started clapping. Not loud, not wild, just a slow, steady applause that echoed through the hospital corridor. Some of them were crying. Elena didn't know what to do. She stood there frozen as these terrifying strangers showed her more respect than anyone had in her entire life. Come on, Vicky said softly, before they start a parade. They kept walking. The applause followed them until they turned the corner. Maggie's door was open. Elena stopped at the threshold. Her heart was pounding. Inside, she could see a hospital bed, a woman with silver white hair propped up on pillows, an IV in her arm, Maggie Stone, alive. Go on, Vicky said. She won't bite. Elena stepped into the room. Maggie's eyes found her immediately. Blue eyes bright and clear, showing no sign of the 9 minutes she'd spent without oxygen. There she is. Maggie's voice was hoarse but warm. My guardian angel. Elena walked slowly to the bedside. She didn't know what to say, so she didn't say anything. Maggie reached out. Her hand was thin, papery, still pale from the ordeal. Sit down, sweetheart. Please. Elena sat in the chair beside the bed. Maggie's hand found hers and held on. I remember the darkness, Maggie said quietly. I remember my heart giving out. I remember thinking this is it. This is how I die. In the lake I've loved my whole life. She paused. And then I remember hands, small hands, pulling me up, pulling me back. Elena's throat tightened. I just did what anyone would do. No. Maggie's grip tightened. No, you didn't, because no one else saw me. No one else came. Only you. Her eyes glistened. A girl I never met. A girl who was hiding in the shadows afraid of us. You risked everything for a stranger. I couldn't just let you drown. Why not? The question hung in the air. Elena thought about it, really thought about it. Because, she stopped, started again. Because I know what it's like to drown, and I know what it's like when nobody comes. Maggie's expression shifted. Understanding, sadness, something deeper. Mike told me about your backpack, about where you were hiding, about the bruises. She paused. You've been drowning for a long time, haven't you, Elena? The tears came again. Elena hated them, hated being weak, hated being seen, but she couldn't stop them. I'm so tired, she heard herself say. I'm so tired of running, of hiding, of being scared all the time. I know, sweetheart, I know. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know where to go. Maggie pulled her closer. Elena found herself leaning into the embrace, her forehead pressed against Maggie's shoulder. You don't have to go anywhere, Maggie whispered. You're home now. You don't even know me. I know enough, Maggie stroked her hair. I know you're brave. I know you're kind. I know you have a heart that wouldn't let a stranger die, even when helping her meant exposing yourself. That's not, I'm not brave, you're exactly what I said. And I'm not letting you go back to whatever you were running from. Maggie pulled back, looked her in the eyes. Mike and I talked last night. We want you to stay with us, at our home, for as long as you want. Elena stared at her. What? We have a guest room. It's not much, but it's clean, safe. There's a lock on the door. She paused. A lock that works from the inside. Something in the way she said it told Elena that Maggie understood. Really understood. Why, Elena whispered. Why would you do this? Because you gave me my life back, and because... Maggie's voice caught. We had a daughter, Sophie. She died 6 years ago, car accident. She was just a little older than you. The words hit Elena like a physical blow. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. It's okay. Maggie wiped her eyes. It's not okay, but it's something we've learned to carry. The point is we have room in our home and room in our hearts. And I think maybe you need both. Elena didn't know what to say. Her mind was spinning, trying to find the trap, the catch, the hidden danger. There was always a catch. Always. What's the catch? She heard herself ask. Maggie smiled sadly. No catch, sweetheart. Just an old woman who was given a second chance and wants to pay it forward. The door opened. Iron Mike stepped in, carrying 2 cups of coffee. She say yes yet? He asked Maggie. Give her time, you old bear. She just woke up. Mike handed 1 cup to his wife, kept the other. He looked at Elena. I know you've got no reason to trust us, he said. I know we're strangers. Hell, I know what people think about clubs like ours. Criminals, thugs, monsters. He shrugged. Some of that's true. Won't lie to you. Elena said nothing. Waited. But here's the thing, Mike continued. We live by a code. Loyalty, family, protection. You don't hurt women. You don't hurt kids. And when someone saves your wife's life, you don't turn your back on them. He paused. Ever. I'm not asking for anything, Elena said. I didn't save her for a reward. I know. That's why you're getting one. Silence stretched between them. What happened to me, Mom? Elena said slowly. What I'm running from. If you knew the truth, try me. She looked at Mike, then at Maggie, then back at Mike. And for some reason she couldn't explain, she told them everything. Carl Peterson, the foster care system, the visits that started a month after she arrived, the other girls before her, Jenny and her broken jaw, The social worker who didn't believe her, the basement, the darkness, the hands that wouldn't stop, the night she finally broke, the window, the road. 11 days of running. When she finished, the room was dead silent. Maggie was crying openly. Mike wasn't crying, but something in his face had changed, hardened. This man, Mike said quietly, Carl Peterson, he's in Denver. Yes. And he's still fostering kids. As far as I know. Mike nodded slowly. He pulled out his phone, typed something, put it away. Not anymore. Elena frowned. What do you mean? I mean, I just sent a message to some friends in Colorado. By tomorrow, Carl Peterson's going to have visitors. By next week, he's going to be in a cell. Elena's heart stopped. You can't. If I come forward, they'll find me. You're not coming forward. You were never here, but there are other girls, right? Girls who might be brave enough to talk if they knew someone was listening. Jenny, the other foster kids, the ones who came before. Yes, Elena whispered. There are others. Then let us handle it. Our way. Mike's eyes were cold now. Cold and hard and terrifying. Men like Carl Peterson don't deserve a trial, but they'll get one, and they'll rot. Elena didn't know what to feel. Relief, fear, hope, all of it at once. You'd do that, she asked. For me, for you, for Jenny, for every girl he ever touched. Mike's jaw clenched, because that's what family does. Family, there was that word again. Elena looked at Maggie, still crying, still holding her hand. Looked at Mike, this terrifying man who was promising to destroy her monster. Looked at the life she was being offered. The impossible, unbelievable life. Okay, she heard herself say. Okay, Maggie's eyes widened. You mean, okay, I'll stay. At least for a while if you really want me. Maggie pulled her into another hug. Oh, sweetheart, we really want you. Mike nodded just once, but Elena saw the emotion he was trying to hide. Welcome to the family, Elena Reyes. She stayed in the hospital for 2 more days. The doctors wanted to make sure her malnutrition wasn't causing any lasting damage. They ran tests, drew blood, made her eat 3 meals a day, plus snacks. Elena didn't argue. For the first time in years, she had enough food. She wasn't about to complain. Visitors came constantly. Bikers she'd never met stopping by to shake her hand to say thank you, to drop off candy, or magazines, or stupid stuffed animals from the gift shop. Big, scary men with tears in their eyes telling her she was a hero. Women with hard faces and soft hearts, or bringing her clothes, toiletries, books. The whole club, one by one, paying their respects to the girl who'd saved their queen. On the second day, Vicky brought her backpack. Elena's hands shook as she opened it. Everything was there. The $43, the change of underwear, the pocket knife she'd stolen from a truck stop in Wyoming, and her mother's rosary. She held it in her palm, feeling the worn wooden beads, the tiny carved crucifix. Your mom's, Vicky asked. Elena nodded. It was blessed by my grandmother, back in Mexico, before she died. It's beautiful. It's all I have left of her. Vicky sat on the edge of the bed. You know, when I ran away, I didn't take anything, left everything behind. Thought I could just start over, become someone new. Did it work? No. Vicky smiled sadly. You can't outrun yourself, Elena, but you can build something new on top of the old. Something better, something stronger. Elena looked at the rosary, thought about her mother, thought about the woman she could become. I don't know how to do that, she admitted. I don't know how to be normal. Nobody's normal, honey. We're all just faking it until we figure it out. Vicky stood. Now get dressed. Maggie's being discharged today, and she wants you to ride home with her. Home. Another word Elena had forgotten the meaning of. But maybe it was time to remember. The stone house sat on 15 acres just outside of town. Big, rambling, with a wraparound porch and a view of the mountains. Elena stood in the driveway staring at it. It's too much, she said. I can't. You can and you will. Maggie looped her arm through Elena's. Come on. Let me show you your room. Your room. The words didn't make sense, but Elena followed anyway. The room was at the end of a second-floor hallway. Small, but comfortable. A bed with a real mattress. A dresser. A closet. a window looking out at the trees, and a lock on the door. Maggie saw Elena looking at it. It works from the inside, Maggie said quietly. I had Mike install it yesterday. You lock that door every night and nobody opens it without your permission. Understand? Elena's throat tightened. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You haven't seen the bathroom. We've only got two and Mike takes forever in the morning. Elena laughed. It surprised her, the sound coming out of her own mouth. She couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed. Get settled, Maggie said. Dinner's at 6. Don't be late. Mike gets cranky when his food goes cold. She left Elena alone in the room. Elena sat on the bed, tested the mattress, soft, clean. No mysterious stains or cigarette burns. She looked around at the empty walls, the bare dresser, the open closet. A blank slate, a fresh start. She pulled her mother's rosary from her pocket, hung it on the bedpost. Then she lay down on the bed, stared at the ceiling, and tried to believe this was real. Downstairs, she heard voices, Maggie and Mike talking, the clatter of pots and pans, normal sounds, family sounds. Elena closed her eyes. And for the first time in 11 days, she let herself hope. Maybe things could be different. Maybe she could be different. Maybe she wasn't invisible anymore. The nightmares didn't stop just because she had a real bed. Elena woke up screaming at 3 a.m. on her second night at the Stonehouse. She bolted upright, drenched in sweat. Her mother's rosary clutched so tight the beads left marks on her palm. Footsteps in the hallway. Then a knock. Elena, you okay in there? Mike's voice, gruff, concerned. Elena's heart was still racing. I'm fine, just a bad dream. A pause. You want to talk about it? No, another pause. All right, but Maggie's making hot chocolate downstairs if you change your mind. She heard you scream. Elena closed her eyes. Shame burned in her chest. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake anyone. Don't apologize for surviving, kid. Just come down if you want. His footsteps retreated. Elena sat in the darkness, fighting the tremors in her hands. The dream had been the same as always. Carl's face, his hands, the basement. But this time there was a new element. Her mother standing in the corner watching, not helping, just watching. Elena threw back the covers and went downstairs. Maggie was at the kitchen table, 2 mugs of hot chocolate already poured. She looked up when Elena appeared in the doorway. Couldn't sleep either, Maggie said. Sit. Elena sat. The hot chocolate was warm in her hands. Real chocolate, not the powdered stuff from gas station packets. You don't have to tell me what you dreamed about, Maggie said. But I want you to know something. This house, it's a safe place. Whatever's in your head, it can't hurt you here. It's not the house, Elena whispered. It's me. The memories are inside me. I can't get away from them. Maggie nodded slowly. No, you can't. But you can learn to live with them. Learn to make them smaller, quieter. It takes time. How do you know? Maggie was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Sophie, our daughter. After she died, I dreamed about her every night for 2 years. Sometimes good dreams, mostly bad ones. Dreams where I could have saved her but didn't. Dreams where she blamed me for letting her go. Elena looked at her. What made them stop? They didn't stop. Not completely, but they got softer, further apart. Maggie sipped her chocolate. Mike helped. The club helped. Having something to live for helped. She reached across the table and took Elena's hand. You have something to live for now, too, even if you don't believe it yet. Elena wanted to argue, wanted to say she wasn't worth saving, wasn't worth helping, wasn't worth anything at all. But the hot chocolate was warm. Maggie's hand was steady. And for just a moment, Elena let herself believe. Thank you, she said, for everything. Thank me by getting some sleep. We've got a big day tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Maggie smiled. You'll see. The next morning, Elena found out what Maggie meant. A car pulled up to the house at 9 a.m. Not a motorcycle, a black sedan with tinted windows. Professional looking. Elena watched from the window, her heart starting to race. Relax, Mike said from behind her. That's just Eddie, our lawyer. Lawyer? Eddie Vasquez. He handles all the club's legal stuff, and now he's going to handle yours. Elena turned around. I don't understand. Come to the dining room. Eddie will explain everything. Eddie Vasquez was a small man in an expensive suit. He had kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses and a handshake that was surprisingly firm. "Miss Reyes," he said, "it's an honor to meet you. The club's told me a lot about what you did for Mrs. Stone." "I didn't do anything special. 9 minutes of CPR suggests otherwise." Eddie sat down, opened a leather briefcase. "Now let's talk about your situation." Elena's stomach clenched. "What situation?" "Your legal status, your options, your future." Eddie pulled out a stack of papers. "Right now, you're a runaway minor from the foster care system in Colorado. That means if you're found, you get sent back. Probably to a different home, but possibly to the same one. The system doesn't exactly have a great track record." "I'm not going back." "No, you're not, because we're going to make sure of it." Eddie spread the papers on the table. "First option, emancipation." "You're 19. "I'm 19, Elena interrupted. "My birthday was 2 months ago." Everyone went quiet. "You're 19, Maggie said. "But you look younger, I know. I've always looked young for my age, and I never corrected anyone because—" She stopped. "Because being underage made you more vulnerable," Eddie finished. "Made people less likely to question the foster situation." Elena nodded. Eddie leaned back. "Well, that changes things. If you're 19, you're legally an adult. The foster system has no claim on you. You can walk away clean." "Just like that." "Just like that." Eddie smiled. "But there's more. Mr. Stone asked me to look into Carl Peterson, your former foster father." Elena's whole body went rigid. "What did you find?" Eddie's smile faded. "Nothing good. Peterson has a record. Minor stuff, drunk driving, disorderly conduct. But there have been complaints, lots of them, from foster kids over the years. None of them stuck. Because no one believed us." "Exactly, but that's about to change." Eddie pulled out another document. "I've been in contact with the Colorado Department of Human Services. Turns out you're not the only one who ran away from Peterson's house. There are 3 other girls who disappeared from his care over the past 5 years, all listed as runaways. All cases closed." Elena's heart was pounding. Jenny Marsh. She was there before me." "I know, I found her." Eddie paused. "She's willing to talk. So are 2 other girls. With their testimonies plus the evidence we've gathered, we can put Peterson away for a long time." Elena couldn't breathe. "You found Jenny. Is she okay?" "She's alive, living in Albuquerque with an aunt. She's—" Eddie hesitated. "She's damaged, but she's surviving, and she wants justice, just like you." Tears burned Elena's eyes. Jenny was alive, damaged but alive. "What do you need from me?" "Nothing. You don't have to testify. You don't have to be involved at all. Jenny and the others are enough." Eddie closed his briefcase. "But I thought you'd want to know. Carl Peterson's world is about to come crashing down." Elena looked at Mike. "You did this." "I made some calls. Eddie did the rest." "Why?" Mike's jaw tightened. "Because men like Peterson don't stop. They keep hurting kids until someone stops them. And nobody was stopping him." He paused. "Until now." Lena didn't know what to say. Her whole life she'd been powerless, running, hiding, surviving. Now someone was fighting for her. She stood up, walked around the table, and hugged Mike Stone. The big man froze for a second. Then his arms came up, and he held her like she was made of glass. "Thank you," Elena whispered. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet, kid. Thank me when that bastard's in prison." 3 weeks passed. Elena started to settle into a routine. Wake up at 7, breakfast with Maggie and Mike, help around the house. Dinner at 6, sleep, repeat. It was boring, normal, safe. She hated how much she loved it. The nightmares came less often now, still there but softer like Maggie had promised. Some nights she slept straight through until morning. Those were the good nights. She gained weight. Her cheeks filled out. The dark circles under her eyes faded. Maggie took her shopping for real clothes. Not thrift store cast-offs, not hand-me-downs. New clothes, clothes that fit. Elena cried in the dressing room. Maggie pretended not to notice. The club members came around constantly, checking on Maggie, checking on Elena, bringing food, beer, gossip from the road. Elena learned their names. Brick, the big bald guy with the skull tattoo. Razor skinny and mean-looking, but surprisingly gentle. Ghost young and quiet, barely older than Elena herself. And Vicky always, Vicky with her sharp eyes and warm heart. "You're starting to look human," Vicky said one afternoon, finding Elena on the porch. "Few more weeks, and we might not recognize you." Elena smiled. It came easier now. "I feel human for the first time in years." "Good, because Mike's got something planned for you, some kind of a ceremony." "Ceremony," Vicky grinned. "Don't ask me. Club business. I just know it's happening this weekend." Elena's stomach fluttered. "Should I be worried?" "Nah, if they were going to kill you, they'd have done it already." "That's not reassuring." "Wasn't meant to be." The ceremony happened on Saturday. The whole club gathered at the Stonehouse. 50 bikers, maybe more, filling the yard, in the driveway, and spilling out onto the road. Elena stood on the porch, her heart hammering. She'd never seen so many leather vests in one place. Mike stood at the center of the crowd, Maggie beside him. "Brothers and sisters," Mike's voice boomed across the yard, "we're here today to recognize someone special. Someone who proved herself in a way that none of us could have imagined." Elena's face burned. She wanted to disappear. "3 weeks ago, my wife was drowning. 9 minutes underwater. By all rights, she should be dead." Mike's voice cracked. "But she's not, because a girl none of us had ever seen before dove into that lake and pulled her out. A girl with nothing to her name. A girl who was running for her life. A girl who had every reason to stay hidden and stay safe." He looked at Elena. "But she didn't stay hidden. She didn't stay safe. She risked everything for a stranger. And that, brothers and sisters, is what family means." A murmur went through the crowd. Mike pulled something from his vest. A leather vest smaller than the others. New. "Lena Reyes, the club has voted. Unanimous. We're giving you something we don't give to outsiders. We're giving you the patch." Elena's breath caught. "This isn't a full member vest," Mike continued. "You're not a Hell's Angel. You're something else. Something more." He held up the vest. On the back, where the Death Head logo would normally be, there was a different patch, a single word. "Afefe. Angels, forever, forever angels," Mike said. "Your family now, Elena. Forever." He walked to the porch, held out the vest. Elena's hands were shaking as she took it. I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything. Just put it on." She slipped the vest over her shoulders. It fit perfectly. The crowd erupted, cheering, whistling, clapping. Elena stood there, tears streaming down her face, surrounded by 50 bikers who somehow impossibly had become her family. Maggie pulled her into a hug. "Welcome home, sweetheart. I don't deserve this. You deserve more than this, but it's a start." The party lasted until midnight. Elena moved through the crowd, accepting handshakes and hugs and slaps on the back. Every member of the club wanted to meet her, to thank her, to welcome her. It was overwhelming, terrifying, wonderful. Around 10 o'clock, she found a quiet spot by the edge of the property, away from the music and the laughter. She pulled out her mother's rosary and held it in the moonlight. "I wish you could see this, Mama," she whispered. "I wish you could see what I found." Talking to yourself, Elena spun around. Ghost stood a few feet away, hands in his pockets. "Sorry," he said. "Didn't mean to sneak up on you." "It's okay. I was just thinking." Ghost nodded. He was maybe 21, 22, dark hair, quiet eyes. He'd barely spoken 10 words to her in 3 weeks. "Can I sit?" he asked. "Sure." He sat on the grass beside her. For a while, neither of them spoke. "I know what it's like," Ghost finally said. "To run, to hide, to think you're never going to be anything but afraid." Elena looked at him. "You were a runaway." "Worse, I was a gangbanger. Little town in Arizona. I did things, bad things. Things I'll never be able to take back." He paused. "I was 19 when I got out. Thought nobody would ever give me a second chance. Then I met Mike. He found you. More like I found him. I was hitchhiking up north trying to get as far from Arizona as possible. He picked me up, fed me, listened to my story." Ghost smiled slightly. 2 years later, I'm a prospect for the Hells Angels. 3 years after that, I'm a full member. And for the first time in my life, I've got people who give a damn if I live or die. Elena understood more than he knew. Why do they call you Ghost? Because I used to be invisible. Nobody saw me. Nobody cared. He looked at her. But I'm not invisible anymore. And neither are you. Elena held his gaze. Something passed between them. Understanding, recognition, two lost souls who'd somehow found their way home. Thanks, Elena said, for telling me that. Thanks for saving Maggie. She's the closest thing I've got to a mother. Ghost stood, brushed off his jeans. I should get back before Brick drinks all the beer. You coming? In a minute? He nodded and walked away. Elena sat alone in the darkness, her mother's rosary in one hand, her new Alpha vest warm on her shoulders. For the first time since she was 12 years old, she felt like she belonged somewhere. The call came 2 weeks later. Elena was in the kitchen helping Maggie make breakfast when Mike walked in with his phone in his hand. His face was unreadable. That was Eddie, he said. Elena's stomach dropped. What happened? Carl Peterson was arrested yesterday. Denver police, they raided his house, found evidence on his computer. The kind of evidence that puts people away forever. Elena gripped the counter to keep from falling. They got him. They got him. Mike's face split into a grim smile. He's being charged with 12 counts of child abuse, 6 counts of sexual assault, and enough other stuff to keep him in prison until he's 150 years old. Elena's knees buckled. Maggie caught her, eased her into a chair. Breathe, sweetheart, breathe. It's over. Elena's voice was barely a whisper. It's really over. It's really over. He's never going to hurt anyone again. The tears came then. Great racking sobs that shook her whole body. Years of fear and pain and rage pouring out all at once. Maggie held her. Mike stood guard at the door. And somewhere in Denver, the monster who had haunted Elena's nightmares was finally in a cage. But the story wasn't over yet. 3 days after Carl's arrest, Elena got a phone call. She didn't recognize the number. Almost didn't answer. Hello? Is this Elena Reyes? A woman's voice. Young, trembling. Who is this? A pause. Then it's Jenny Marsh. Eddie gave me your number. I hope that's okay. Elena sat down hard on the bed. Jenny, oh my God, Jenny. I heard you're alive. I heard you got out. Jenny's voice cracked. I thought you were dead. All this time I thought he killed you too. I'm alive. I'm okay. Jenny, I'm so sorry. I should have helped you. I should have said something. Stop. Jenny's voice was firm despite the tears. Don't you dare apologize. You were a kid. We were both kids. He was the monster, not us. Elena wiped her eyes. Eddie said you were going to testify. Yeah, tomorrow. I'm scared out of my mind, but I'm doing it. A pause. Will you be there? What? At the hearing, will you be there? I know you don't have to testify, but just knowing you were in the room, knowing I wasn't alone, it would help. Elena's heart twisted. Going back to Colorado, facing that world again. Everything in her screamed no. But Jenny was asking. Jenny who'd suffered longer and worse. Jenny who'd finally found the courage to speak. I'll be there, Elena said. I promise, but... She told Mike and Maggie that night. Expected them to argue. Instead, Mike nodded. We'll go with you. You don't have to... Yes, we do. Maggie's voice left no room for argument. Family sticks together, especially when it's hard. The whole club's coming, Mike added. Well, the Colorado chapter's meeting us there. You're not walking into that courtroom alone. Elena stared at them. Why do you keep doing this for me? Mike shrugged. Because you're one of us now and we protect our own. They left for Denver the next morning. Elena rode in the back seat of Mike's truck watching Montana disappear in the rearview mirror. Her stomach was in knots. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Maggie reached back and squeezed her knee. You're going to be fine. What if I'm not? What if I see him and I fall apart? Then we'll be there to catch you. The courthouse was surrounded by motorcycles. 30 bikes, maybe more. Hell's Angels from 3 different chapters, all there for a girl most of them had never met. Elena stepped out of the truck and stared. Holy shit, she whispered. Brick appeared at her side. Language kid, there are children present. There are no children here. Yeah, well, there might be. Come on, Jenny's waiting. The hearing was in a small courtroom on the third floor. Elena walked in, flanked by Mike and Maggie, a wall of leather behind her. Carl Peterson sat at the defendant's table. Elena saw him and stopped breathing. He looked smaller than she remembered, older, pathetic in his orange jumpsuit and handcuffs. But his eyes, those same dead eyes that had watched her in the darkness. They found her across the courtroom, and he smiled. Elena's blood turned to ice. "Hey." Mike's hand on her shoulder. "Look at me. Don't look at him. Look at me, Barry." Elena tore her eyes away, met Mike's gaze. "He can't hurt you anymore," Mike said quietly. "He's nothing now, nothing." Elena nodded, forced herself to breathe. She found a seat in the gallery, Maggie on one side, Vicky on the other. Mike stood at the end of the row like a guard dog. Jenny Marsh took the stand. She was 23 now, thin, pale, but her voice was steady as she told her story. The abuse, the silence, the years of shame. When she finished, the prosecutor asked one final question. "Miss Marsh, do you see the man who did these things to you in this courtroom today?" Jenny looked at Carl Peterson. "Yes," she said. "He's right there." Peterson's lawyer tried to object. The judge overruled him. One by one, the other victims testified. 3 more girls, 3 more stories of horror and survival. Elena sat through all of it, silent, shaking. But she didn't look away. She owed them that much. At the end of the day, the judge set bail at $5 million. Peterson couldn't make it. He was going back to jail. As the bailiffs let him out, Peterson turned, found Elena in the crowd one last time. "You think you won," he hissed. "You think this is over. I know people. I have friends. You're never going to be safe. Never." Mike Stone stepped forward. Peterson's face went white. "You're talking to my daughter," Mike said. His voice was calm, quiet, terrifying. "And if you ever so much as think about her again, you won't make it to trial. Understand?" The bailiffs dragged Peterson away. He didn't say another word. Elena stood on shaking legs. Jenny Marsh pushed through the crowd, threw her arms around Elena. "You came," Jenny sobbed. "You actually came." "I promised." "I know, but I didn't think." She pulled back, wiped her eyes. "Thank you for everything. I didn't do anything. You survived. You got out. You showed me it was possible." Jenny smiled through her tears. "You saved me, Elena, just like you saved Maggie." Elena didn't know what to say, so she just held on. 2 survivors, 2 fighters, 2 girls who refused to stay invisible. Outside the courthouse, the bikers were waiting. Elena walked out into the sunlight, Jenny beside her, the whole club at her back. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted questions. Mike raised his hand and they fell silent. No comment," he said, "but I want everyone here to know something. This girl," he pointed at Elena, "is a hero, and so is every woman who testified today. The monsters are going to prison, and they're never getting out." The crowd cheered, the cameras flashed, and Elena Reyes, the invisible girl who'd hidden under a dock just weeks ago, stood in the light and let the world see her. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was home. The drive back to Montana felt different. Elena sat in the back of Mike's truck, watching the mountains grow larger in the windshield. Jenny's words echoed in her head. "You saved me." She hadn't saved anyone. She'd been a coward, hidden while others suffered, run when things got hard. But Jenny didn't see it that way. Neither did Maggie. Neither did the 50 bikers who'd driven all the way to Denver just to stand behind a girl they barely knew. "You're quiet," Maggie said from the front seat. "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just thinking." "About what?" Elena paused. "About what happens now." Mike glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "What do you mean, Peterson's going to prison? The hearing's over. I don't..." She struggled to find the words. "I don't know what I'm supposed to do next, who I'm supposed to be." Maggie reached back and took her hand. "You're supposed to be Elena. That's it. That's enough. But I don't even know who that is anymore." The truck was quiet for a long moment. Then Mike spoke. "When I got out of prison..." Elena's head snapped up. "You were in prison. 8 years, armed robbery. I was 22 and stupid as hell." Mike's eyes stayed on the road. "When I got out, I didn't know who I was either. The person I'd been before was gone. The person I'd become inside was someone I didn't want to be. I had to build myself from scratch. How? One day at a time, one choice at a time. Every morning I woke up and asked myself, who do I want to be today? And then I tried to be that person. He paused. Some days I failed, a lot of days actually, but I kept trying and eventually the good days started outnumbering the bad. Elena absorbed that, one day at a time, one choice at a time. Maybe she could do that. When did you meet Maggie? Mike smiled, the first real smile she'd seen from him all day. 3 months after I got out. She was working at a diner in Billings. I walked in looking like death warmed over, and she took one look at me and said, "Sit down before you fall down, you idiot." Maggie laughed. He looked like a lost puppy, a very large, very scary lost puppy. She fed me for free that day, and the next day, and the day after that. Mike shook his head. By the end of the week, I was in love. Took me 2 more years to convince her to give me a chance. I was playing hard to get. You were being smart. I was a mess. Elena smiled despite herself. And then you joined the club. The club found me, same way it found you. Mike met her eyes in the mirror. That's how it works, Elena. The broken ones find each other. We build something together, something stronger than what we had before. The truck rumbled on through the mountains. Elena leaned her head against the window and closed her eyes. For the first time in her life, she let herself imagine a future. 3 months passed. Elena woke on a Tuesday morning to the smell of bacon and coffee. She stretched, feeling the softness of clean sheets against her skin. Still not used to that, might never be. She got dressed, jeans, t-shirt, her AFFA vest, and headed downstairs. Maggie stood at the stove, flipping pancakes. Mike sat at the table with his newspaper and his coffee, looking like any other retired guy in America, except for the tattoos, and the scars, and the Hells Angels patches on his vest. "Morning sleepyhead," Maggie said. "Sit, eat." Elena sat, ate. This had become her life, normal, boring, wonderful. She'd gotten her GED last month, passed with flying colors which had surprised everyone except Maggie, who'd never doubted her for a second. Now she was thinking about college, maybe nursing school. She wanted to help people the way the EMTs had helped Maggie that day at the lake, the way everyone had helped her. "Got something for you," Mike said, sliding an envelope across the table. Elena frowned. "What's this? Open it." She did. Inside was a letter on official-looking paper. Her eyes scanned the words, then stopped, then went back to the beginning and read again. This is a check." "Yep." "For $10,000. "Yep." "And from who?" Mike leaned back in his chair. "The club has a fund for education, for members and their families." He paused. "Your family, Elena, that money's for nursing school." Elena stared at the check. Her hands were shaking. "I can't accept this." "You can and you will." "Mike, it's not charity," Maggie interrupted, sitting down with a plate of pancakes. "It's an investment in you, in your future." She smiled. "We believe in you, Elena. It's time you started believing in yourself." Elena's throat was tight. She couldn't speak, so she just nodded and carefully, reverently tucked the check into her pocket. The phone rang an hour later. Elena was washing dishes when Maggie answered. She didn't think anything of it until she heard Maggie's voice change. "What? When is he?" A pause. "Okay, yes, we'll be right there." She hung up. Her face was pale. "Maggie, what's wrong?" Maggie's eyes found hers. "It's Ghost. He's been in an accident." Elena's blood went cold. The hospital was 40 minutes away. Mike drove like the devil was chasing them. Elena sat in the back, her hands clasped together, praying to a God she still wasn't sure she believed in. Please, please let him be okay. She and Ghost had grown close over the past months. Not romantic, not exactly, but something. A connection. Two survivors who understood each other without having to explain. He'd taught her to ride a motorcycle. She'd taught him to cook something other than ramen noodles. They'd spent countless nights on the porch talking about everything and nothing, finding comfort in each other's presence. And now he was hurt. Maybe dying. Please, please. They found Ghost in the ICU. He was alive. That was the first thing Elena noticed. Alive, but barely. tubes and wires everywhere, bandages covering half his face, his right arm in a cast, his left leg in traction. What happened? Mike demanded. The doctor was young, tired, clearly intimidated by the wall of leather that had descended on his hospital. Motorcycle accident. A truck ran a red light, hit him broadside. He's lucky to be alive. Lucky, Elena's voice cracked. He looks half dead. He has a broken arm, a broken leg, 4 cracked ribs, and a severe concussion, but no internal bleeding. No brain damage that we can see. The doctor paused. Like I said, lucky. Elena pushed past him into the room. Ghost's eyes were closed. His breathing was shallow. He looked smaller somehow. All that tough guy energy drained away. She sat in the chair beside his bed, took his unbroken hand in hers. Hey, she whispered. It's me, Elena. No response. You better wake up, you hear me? You still owe me a rematch at poker, and you promised to teach me how to do a wheelie. Her voice broke. You promised Ghost. You don't get to break your promise. His fingers twitched. Elena's heart stopped. Ghost, his eyes fluttered, opened, unfocused. Then they found her face. Elena. His voice was a rasp. What happened? You got hit by a truck, you idiot. What the hell were you thinking? He tried to smile. Winced. Wasn't thinking. That's the problem. Damn right it is. Mike appeared in the doorway. He awake. Yeah, and already making bad jokes. Mike walked to the bedside, looked down at Ghost with an expression Elena had never seen before. Something between rage and terror. You scared the hell out of us, boy. Sorry, Prez. Don't be sorry. Be more careful. Mike's voice softened. We can't lose you, Ghost. The club needs you. Maggie needs you. He glanced at Elena. She needs you. Ghost's eyes drifted to Elena. Something passed between them. Something unspoken. I'm not going anywhere, Ghost said. Promise. Elena squeezed his hand. You better not. Ghost spent 2 weeks in the hospital. Elena visited every day, read to him, played cards with him, helped him eat when his broken arm made it too difficult to hold a fork. The club rotated through in shifts, making sure someone was always there, making sure he was never alone. That was what family did. On the 3rd day, Ghost asked her a question. Why are you here so much? Elena looked up from the book she'd been reading. What do you mean? I mean you're here every day, for hours. And don't you have better things to do? Not really. Elena, she set the book down. Looked at him. Because you do the same for me, she said. Because you're my friend. Because, she hesitated. Because I don't have a lot of people in my life who matter. And you matter. Okay? Ghost stared at her for a long moment. I matter. Don't fish for compliments. It's unbecoming. He laughed, then winced. Ow. Don't make me laugh. It hurts. Then stop asking stupid questions. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Ghost said, You matter to me too, just so you know. Elena's chest tightened. I know. Good. He closed his eyes. Now read me more of that book. I want to find out if the detective catches the killer. Spoiler alert, he does. Damn it, Elena. She grinned and started reading. 2 weeks later, Ghost was released. He moved back into his apartment above the club's garage, but he couldn't manage alone with his injuries. Someone needed to help him. Elena volunteered. You don't have to do this, Ghost said as she helped him up the stairs. I can manage. You can barely walk. I can hop. You're an idiot. So I've been told. She got him settled on the couch, propped up with pillows, his leg elevated. There, comfortable as I'm going to get with a broken everything. Elena sat in the chair across from him. What do you need? Water, food, pain meds? I need you to stop fussing over me like I'm dying. You almost did die. Ghost went quiet. The humor drained from his face. I know, he said softly. I was there. Elena's anger deflated. Sorry, I didn't mean. No, you're right. I almost died. He looked at her. And you know what I thought about in that moment when the truck was coming at me and I knew I couldn't get out of the way? What, you? Elena's breath caught. I thought about you, Ghost continued, about how I never told you. Never said, he struggled with the words. I'm not good at this, Elena. I'm not good at feeling. But when I thought I was going to die, the only thing I regretted was not telling you how much you mean to me. Elena couldn't move, couldn't speak. You don't have to say anything, Ghost said quickly. I needed you to know, in case something like that ever happens again. Silence stretched between them. Then Elena stood up, walked to the couch, sat beside him, careful of his injuries. You're an idiot, she said softly. Yeah, I know. She kissed him, gentle, careful, just a brush of lips. When she pulled back, Ghost was staring at her like she'd grown a second head. What was that for? For being an idiot, for almost dying, for making me feel things I don't know how to feel. She paused. For mattering. Ghost reached up with his good hand, touched her face. I'm going to kiss you back now, he said. Is that okay? It's okay. He kissed her. And for the first time in her life, Elena understood what it meant to be loved. 4 months later, Carl Peterson was convicted. Elena watched the news coverage from the living room of the Stone house. Maggie on one side, Mike on the other, Ghost behind her with his hand on her shoulder. The reporter's voice filled the room. Carl Peterson was found guilty today on all counts of child abuse and sexual assault. He faces a minimum of 40 years in federal prison with no possibility of parole. Elena stared at the screen. 40 years. He'd die in there. It's over, Maggie said softly. It's really over. Boom. But Elena didn't feel relieved. Didn't feel victorious. She felt empty. I thought I'd be happy, she said. I thought when they finally locked him up, I'd feel, I don't know, free. And I don't know what I feel. Mike muted the TV. That's normal. Justice doesn't erase what happened. It just closes a chapter. Lets you move on to the next one. What's the next chapter? Mike and Maggie exchanged a look. Actually, Maggie said, we wanted to talk to you about that. Elena's stomach dropped. What do you mean? Maggie stood up, walked to the bookshelf, pulled out an envelope that had been hidden behind a row of novels. We've been talking to Eddie, she said, for a while now, about something we've been thinking about since the day we brought you home. She handed Elena the envelope. Elena's hands were shaking as she opened it. Inside was a stack of legal documents. Official looking. Important. She read the first page, then read it again. This is adoption paperwork. Yes. You want to adopt me? Yes. Maggie's voice was thick with emotion. If you'll have us. Elena looked up. Maggie was crying. Mike was trying hard not to. I'm 19, Elena said. I'm an adult. You don't have to. We know we don't have to, Mike interrupted. We want to. It's not about the legal stuff, Elena. It's about making it official. Making you a stone. For real. Forever. Elena looked at Ghost. He was smiling. Did you know about this? Maybe. And you didn't tell me and ruin the surprise? Hell no. Elena turned back to Maggie and Mike, the two people who'd taken her in when she had nothing, fed her, clothed her, protected her, loved her. Her voice broke. I don't deserve this. Bullshit, Mike's voice was gruff. You deserve more than this, but it's what we've got to offer. Maggie knelt in front of her, took her hands. You're already our daughter, Elena, in every way that matters. This is just paperwork. But paperwork matters too. It means you'll never be alone again. Never be invisible. Never be abandoned. She paused. It means you're a stone. Now and forever. Elena's vision blurred with tears. She thought about her mother, Maria Reyes, who'd loved her but couldn't save her, who died in a motel bathroom while her daughter watched cartoons in the next room. She thought about all the foster homes, the indifference, the cruelty, the hands that hurt instead of healed. She thought about Carl Peterson locked away forever, unable to touch anyone else's child. And she thought about this family she'd found by accident, this love she'd never expected. Yes, she whispered. Maggie's face lit up. Yes, I want to be a stone. I want to be your daughter. Elena laughed through her tears. I want to belong somewhere. Maggie pulled her into a hug. Mike wrapped his arms around both of them, and Ghost stood behind them, grinning like a fool, wiping tears he'd deny later. Welcome to the family, Elena Stone. The adoption was finalized on a cold December morning. Elena stood in the judge's chambers flanked by her new parents. Ghost waited in the hallway with Vicky and half the club. The judge was an older woman with kind eyes and gray hair. She looked at the paperwork, then at Elena, then at Mike and Maggie. "This is unusual," she said. "Adult adoption cases are rare." "We're an unusual family, Your Honor," Mike replied. The judge smiled slightly. "I can see that." She looked at Elena. "Miss Reyes, do you understand what this means? By signing these documents, you'll legally become Elena Stone. Mike and Maggie Stone will be your parents with all the rights and responsibilities that entails." "I understand. And this is what you want? You're not being coerced or pressured in any way." Elena almost laughed. "Coerced into having a family? No, Your Honor. This is absolutely what I want." The judge nodded. "Then let's make it official." She signed the paperwork. Mike and Maggie signed. Elena signed. And just like that, it was done. "Congratulations," the judge said. "Elena Stone, welcome to your new family." Elena stared at the documents. Her name there in black and white. Elena Maria Stone. She had a name. A real name. A family name. She belonged. The club threw a party that night. 50 bikers crammed into the Stone house, drinking and laughing and celebrating. Music played. Food covered every surface. People Elena had never met came up to hug her, to welcome her, to call her family. At some point, Ghost pulled her outside. The air was cold. Stars scattered across the sky. "Hell of a day," Ghost said. "Hell of a year." "Yeah." He took her hand. "You okay?" Elena thought about it, really thought about it. "I think so," she said finally. "For the first time in my life, I think I'm actually okay." Ghost smiled. "Good, because I have something for you, Sue." He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small box. Elena's heart stopped. "Ghost, what?" "Relax, it's not a ring." He laughed at her expression. "Not yet anyway, open it." She opened the box. Inside was a silver charm, a tiny motorcycle delicately crafted, hanging from a thin chain. "It's for your necklace," Ghost said, "to go with your rosary. I figured your mom is part of who you are, but so is this life, so is the club, so is us." Elena's eyes blurred with tears. "Ghost, you don't have to wear it if you don't want to." She kissed him. Hard. When she pulled back, he was grinning. "I pouted. You like it?" "I love it." She unclasped her mother's rosary, added the motorcycle charm. Put it back on. The two pendants hung side by side against her chest, her old life and her new life, together. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." "Thank you for diving into that lake," Ghost replied. "Thank you for saving Maggie. Thank you for being stubborn enough to survive." He paused. "Thank you for letting us love you." Elena leaned into him. Let him hold her. Inside, she could hear the party continuing. Laughter, music, family, her family. "I never thought I'd have this," she said quietly. "Any of this." "Neither did I." Ghost kissed the top of her head. "But here we are." Here we are. They stood together in the cold, watching the stars, two broken people who'd found each other and decided to be whole. The door opened behind them. "Hey!" Vicky's voice called out. "Maggie's about to cut the cake. You two coming or what?" Ghost looked at Elena. "You ready?" Elena smiled, a real smile, the kind she'd forgotten how to make until these people taught her again. "Yeah," she said, "I'm ready." They walked inside together. And Elena Stone, daughter, sister, survivor, Angel, finally let herself believe that she was home. 6 months. Elena stood in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at the person looking back at her. She barely recognized herself. Her cheeks were full now, her eyes were clear. Her hair, once matted and dirty, was clean and shiny, falling past her shoulders. She wore jeans and a simple black t-shirt. Over it, her AFO vest. Around her neck, her mother's rosary and Ghost's motorcycle charm. 6 months since she'd hidden under that dock. 6 months since she'd pulled Maggie Stone from the bottom of Crescent Lake. 6 months since she'd become someone new. "Elena," Maggie's voice floated up the stairs. "Everyone's waiting." Elena took a deep breath, looked at herself one more time. "You can do this," she whispered. "You belong here." She almost believed it. The yard was packed. Motorcycles lined the driveway spilling out onto the road. Leather vests everywhere. Music playing. Meat grilling. Just like that day 6 months ago. Except everything was different. Elena walked out onto the porch and the crowd erupted. Cheering, whistling, clapping. For her. She still wasn't used to it. The attention, the love, the belonging. But she was learning. Ghost appeared at her side, grinning. His arm was out of the cast, now his leg healed. The only sign of the accident was a thin scar across his forehead. "There she is," he said, "the woman of the hour. Please don't make a big deal out of this." Too late. Mike's already planning a speech. Elena groaned. "Kill me now." "Nah, I like you alive." He kissed her cheek and led her into the crowd. The party was in full swing when Mike called for attention. The music stopped. Conversations died. 50 faces turned toward the porch where Mike stood with Maggie at his side. "Brothers and sisters," Mike's voice carried across the yard, "we're here today to celebrate something special. Something miraculous." Elena's face burned. She tried to hide behind Ghost. "6 months ago, my wife was dying, drowning in the lake she's loved her whole life, and not one of us saw it happening. Not one of us could save her." The crowd was silent, remembering. But someone did see. A girl none of us knew. A girl who was hiding from the world. A girl who had every reason to stay invisible. Mike's eyes found Elena, but she didn't stay hidden. She dove into that water and pulled my Maggie back from the dead. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. 9 minutes, Mike continued. 9 minutes underwater. The doctors said it was a miracle she survived. But I know the truth. It wasn't a miracle. It was Elena. Elena shook her head. "It wasn't." "Don't argue with me, girl. I'm making a speech." Laughter from the crowd. 6 months ago, Elena Reyes was a stranger. A runaway, a ghost. Today she's Elena Stone, my daughter, my family. One of us. More cheers, more applause. Mike raised his hand for silence. "I've lived a long time. Done a lot of things I'm proud of. Done some things I'm not." He paused. "But the thing I'm most proud of, standing here today, looking at this girl, this woman, and knowing that she's ours. That she chose us. That she let us love her." His voice cracked. Mike Stone, the legendary biker, the man who'd made grown men cry with fear, was crying himself. "Elena, come up here." Elena's legs didn't want to move. Ghost gave her a gentle push. "Go on, they're waiting." She walked through the crowd, climbed the porch steps, stood beside Mike and Maggie. "The club has one more gift for you," Mike said. "Something we've been working on for a while." Maggie stepped forward, holding something wrapped in cloth. "We know how much your mother meant to you," Maggie said. "We know you carry her with you every day, but we wanted to give you something else, something that represents who you are now, all of who you are." She unwrapped the cloth. Elena's breath caught. It was a leather jacket, black, beautiful, custom made. On the back, embroidered in silver thread, were 2 images, a rosary intertwined with the Hell's Angels' death head. Below them was words in elegant script. "Elena Stone, F. Angels forever, forever angels." "Turn it over," Maggie said softly. Elena did. On the inside, near the heart, was a small patch, hand-stitched. "Maria Reyes, forever loved, forever remembered." Elena couldn't see. Tears blurred everything. "We didn't want to replace your mother," Maggie said. "We could never do that. But we wanted you to know that you can carry both. Her love and ours. Your old family and your new one. Together." Elena couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. She pulled Maggie into a hug, then Mike. Held on like she was drowning. Because she was. Drowning in love. In belonging. In the family she'd never thought she'd have. "Thank you," she managed. "Thank you." "No, sweetheart." Maggie pulled back, wiped Elena's tears. "Thank you for saving me. For letting us save you." The crowd cheered. Elena put on the jacket. It fit perfectly. The party continued until sunset. Elena moved through the crowd, accepting hugs and handshakes and congratulations. She danced with Ghost, ate too much, laughed until her stomach hurt. Normal things, happy things, things she'd forgotten how to do. As the sun started to sink, she found herself drifting toward the lake, Crescent Lake, the place where everything had changed. She walked to the old dock, the same dock she'd hidden under 6 months ago. The wood was rotting, dangerous. Nobody used it anymore. But Elena sat on the edge anyway, let her feet dangle over the water. The lake was calm, beautiful, peaceful. It was hard to believe that something so pretty had nearly killed Maggie, had nearly killed her. Thought I'd find you here. Elena turned. Maggie was walking toward her, moving carefully on the old wood. Be careful, Elena said. This thing could collapse. It's held this long. Maggie sat beside her. Besides, I've already almost drowned once. What's a little more risk? Elena smiled despite herself. That's not funny. It's a little funny. They sat in silence, watching the water. I remember the cold, Maggie said quietly. When I was down there in the dark, I remember thinking this is it. This is how I die, alone. In the lake I've loved my whole life. Elena's chest tightened. But then I felt something. Hands pulling me up. And I thought, no, not alone. Someone's here. Someone came. Tears slipped down Elena's cheeks. Do you know what I thought about? Maggie continued. In those 9 minutes when I was supposed to be dying. What? Sophie, my daughter. I thought I was going to see her again. And part of me wanted to. I missed her so much. Elena didn't know what to say, so she just listened. But then I thought about Mike, about the club, about all the life I still wanted to live. Maggie paused. And then I woke up, and you were there. This girl I'd never seen, crying over me like I mattered. You did matter. You do. I know that now, but in that moment that seeing a stranger cry for me, it broke something in me, Elena. Something that needed breaking. Maggie turned to look at her. You gave me more than my life back that day. You gave me a new perspective, a new purpose. What purpose, you? Maggie smiled. Being your mother, watching you grow, seeing you become the woman I always knew you could be. She paused. Sophie's death nearly destroyed me. For years I was just going through the motions, pretending to be alive. But you made me want to live again, really live. Elena was crying openly now. She didn't try to hide it. I'm so scared, she whispered, all the time, that this isn't real, that I'm going to wake up and be back under that dock, hungry and alone and invisible. That fear doesn't go away, Maggie said. Not completely, but it gets smaller. Every day you wake up here, every day you're loved, the fear loses a little bit of its power. She took Elena's hand. And one day you'll realize that the fear is just a whisper and the love is a roar. Elena leaned into her. Let Maggie hold her. The sun sank lower. The sky turned orange and pink, just like that day 6 months ago. I love you, Mom, Elena said. It was the first time she'd said it. The first time she'd called Maggie Mom outside the adoption. Maggie's arms tightened around her. I love you too, Mija. Elena froze. Mija. That was what her birth mother used to call her term of endearment, her love word. Vicky taught me, Maggie said softly. I hope it's okay. I wanted to honor her, your first mother, the woman who gave you life. Elena couldn't speak. For so long, she thought she had to choose. Her old life or her new one, Maria Reyes or the Stones. But she didn't have to choose. She could have both. She could be both. It's perfect, she whispered. It's absolutely perfect. They sat together until the stars came out. The trial ended 2 weeks later. Carl Peterson was sentenced to 45 years in federal prison. No parole, no appeal. Elena watched the news coverage with Ghost holding his hand tight. How do you feel? He asked. I don't know, she admitted. Relieved, angry, and I fear everything at once. That's normal. I keep thinking about the other girls, the ones who came forward, the ones who testified. She paused. They were so brave, braver than me. You're brave too. I ran, I hid, I didn't. You survived. Ghost turned to face her. That's the bravest thing there is, surviving when everything in the world is trying to destroy you. Elena looked at him, this man who'd been through his own hell, who understood her in ways nobody else could. I love you, she said, It was the first time she'd said it out loud. Ghost's face softened. Say that again. I love you. One more time. I love you, you idiot. He grinned. I love you too. So much it scares me sometimes. Yeah, I never thought I'd have this. Any of this. A club, a family, someone who looks at me like I'm worth something. You are worth something. I know that now. Because of you. They kissed, long and slow and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Ghost's eyes were serious. I want to build a life with you, Elena. A real life, together. Elena's heart raced. What are you saying? I'm saying, he took a deep breath. I'm saying that when you're ready, whenever that is, I want to make this official. I want you to be my wife. Elena stared at him. Is that a proposal? It's a pre-proposal, a promise. He pulled something from his pocket. A simple silver ring. This was my grandmother's. She gave it to me before she died. Told me to give it to someone who made me want to be a better man. He held it out. You make me want to be a better man, Elena. Elena's hands were shaking as she took the ring. I'm not ready for, I know, that's not what this is. This is just a promise. A promise that when you are ready, I'll be here, waiting. Elena looked at the ring. Simple, beautiful, full of meaning. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Okay, I'll wear your promise ring, but only because I love you, and because you make me want to be better too. Ghost's smile could have lit up the whole sky. That's all I needed to hear. He slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, just like everything else in her new life. Spring came early that year. Elena enrolled in nursing school, started classes, studied harder than she'd ever studied anything. It wasn't easy. She'd missed so much school during the foster years, had to work twice as hard to catch up. But she had help. Maggie quizzed her on medical terms. Mike built her a desk in her room. Ghost stayed up late with her making flashcards, bringing her coffee, rubbing her shoulders when they got tight. The club pitched in too. Vicky, who'd been a nurse's aide 20 years ago, shared her old textbooks. Brick, despite his terrifying appearance, turned out to be surprisingly good at explaining biology. Elena had never had a support system before. Never had people who believed in her. Now she had an army. The first semester was brutal. Elena passed her finals by the skin of her teeth. The second semester was better. She found her rhythm, discovered that she was good at this, at understanding how bodies worked, how to help people heal. The third semester, she made the dean's list. The day she got the letter, she cried for an hour. Why are you crying? Ghost asked, holding her. This is good news. I know, she sobbed. That's why I'm crying. Good things keep happening, and I don't know what to do with them. You accept them. You enjoy them. You stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Easy for you to say? It's not easy. Trust me, but it gets easier. She looked at him. This man who'd become her rock, her partner, her future. When did you get so wise? About the time you started loving me. It's like a superpower. Elena laughed through her tears. You're ridiculous. And yet you love me anyway. And yet I do. A year passed. Elena stood at the podium looking out at a crowd of faces. Some familiar, Mike, Maggie, Ghost, Vicky, the whole club taking up 3 rows. Some strangers, fellow students, professors, hospital administrators. She was graduating, top of her class. When I started this program, she said, her voice steady, I didn't think I belonged here. I'd spent most of my life being invisible, being told I was worthless, being treated like I didn't matter. The room was silent. But I was wrong. I wasn't worthless. I wasn't invisible. I just hadn't found the right people yet. The people who could see me. She looked at Maggie, at Mike, at Ghost. I'm standing here today because someone believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. Multiple someones, actually. A whole family of someones. She smiled. Some of them are pretty scary looking, but don't let that fool you. They're teddy bears underneath. Laughter from the club section. I became a nurse because I wanted to help people, to save lives, to be there for strangers the way strangers were there for me. Elena paused. But I learned something during this program, something important. The room waited. You can't save everyone. Sometimes people die despite your best efforts. Sometimes the wounds are too deep, the damage too severe. You can't fix everything. She thought of her mother, of Maria Reyes who'd loved her but couldn't beat the addiction. But you can try, you can show up, you can be present. You can hold someone's hand in the darkness and let them know they're not alone. Her voice cracked. That's what healing is. Not just medicine and procedures. It's showing people that they matter, that they're worth saving. She looked at Maggie again. Someone showed me that once. A woman I didn't know. A woman whose husband was frankly terrifying. She could have called the cops on me, could have turned me away. Instead, she opened her home, her heart, her family. Tears streamed down Maggie's face. Mike's arm was around her. I'm alive today because of her. I'm graduating today because of her. I'm standing here whole and healed and hopeful because a stranger decided I was worth saving. Elena straightened her shoulders. So here's my promise. To everyone who helped me get here. To every patient I'll ever treat. To every scared, broken, invisible person who thinks they're not worth saving. She leaned into the microphone. You are worth saving. You matter. And if no one else sees you, I will. I promise I will. The room erupted in applause. Elena stepped down from the podium. Maggie met her at the bottom of the stairs, pulling her into a fierce hug. I'm so proud of you, Maggie whispered. So incredibly proud. I couldn't have done it without you. Yes, you could have, but I'm glad you didn't have to. Ghost was next, lifting her off her feet, spinning her around. That's my girl, he said, crushing it. Put me down, you maniac. Never. Mike waited until Ghost released her. Then he did something Elena had only seen him do twice before. He took off his leather vest. What are you doing? Elena asked. Mike reached into the inner pocket, pulled out a small velvet box. Ghost asked my permission 3 months ago, Mike said. I told him he had to wait until you graduated. Kid nearly had a heart attack, but he waited. Elena's heart stopped. Ghost dropped to one knee. Elena Maria Stone, he said, his voice shaking. You saved my family. You saved my heart. You made me believe that broken things can be whole again. The crowd was silent, watching. I've loved you since the day I found you crying on the porch holding your mom's rosary like it was a lifeline. I've loved you through the nightmares and the healing and the growing. I've loved you when you didn't think you were worth loving. He opened the box, a ring, simple, beautiful, a small diamond surrounded by smaller stones. I want to spend the rest of my life loving you. I want to build a family with you. I want to wake up every morning knowing that you chose me the way I chose you. Ghost's eyes were wet. Elena Stone, will you marry me? The world stopped. Elena looked at the ring, at Ghost, at her family, all watching, all waiting, all hoping. She thought about the girl she'd been a year and a half ago, hiding under a dock, starving, terrified, invisible. That girl never would have believed this moment was possible. But that girl was gone. In her place was a woman, a nurse, a daughter, a stone. Yes, Elena said. Ghost's face lit up. Yeah, yes, you idiot. Yes, I'll marry you. He slid the ring on her finger, jumped to his feet, kissed her so hard she forgot where she was. The crowd went wild, cheering, whistling, stomping, 50 bikers making enough noise to wake the dead. When Ghost finally released her, Elena was laughing and crying at the same time. You planned this, she accused. Guilty. In front of everyone. I wanted the whole world to know. Ghost cupped her face. I'm not ashamed of loving you, Elena. I want everyone to see open. Elena looked around at her family, her club, her future. I love you, she said. I love you too. Forever. Forever. The wedding happened 6 months later. Not in a church, not in a fancy hall, at Crescent Lake, right beside the dock where everything began. Elena wore white, simple, elegant. Her mother's rosary around her neck, Ghost's motorcycle charm beside it. Mike walked her down the aisle. Maggie stood at the front next to the pastor, ready to give her away a second time. The club filled the chairs. 50 bikers in their Sunday best, which mostly meant clean leather and polished boots. Ghost waited at the end of the aisle. His eyes never left Elena. The vows were simple. The promises were real. I take you, Ghost said, to have and to hold. In good times and bad. In sickness and health, until death do us part. He paused. And even then, I'll find you. In whatever comes next, I'll find you. Lisa smiled through her tears. I take you forever, no matter what. The pastor pronounced them husband and wife. Ghost kissed her. The crowd erupted. And Elena Stone, once invisible, once broken, once lost, became whole. The reception lasted until midnight. Dancing, drinking, laughing. Elena danced with Mike, with Brick, with every member of the club who asked. She danced with Ghost until her feet hurt. Then she danced some more. At some point, she slipped away. Walked to the edge of the lake, the same spot where she'd once hidden. Where she'd once been, nobody. The water was still. The stars were bright. Hey, Elena turned. Jenny Marsh stood behind her. They'd stayed in touch since the trial, talked on the phone, texted, built a friendship out of shared trauma and mutual survival. I'm so happy for you, Jenny said. Really. Thank you for everything, for testifying, for being brave. You made me brave, Jenny paused. You know that, right? Knowing you were out there alive, surviving, fighting, it gave me courage. Elena hugged her. 2 survivors, 2 fighters, 2 women who'd refused to stay invisible. We made it, Elena whispered. Both of us. Yeah, we did. They stood together looking at the lake. You know what I keep thinking about, Jenny said. That day you jumped in the water. To save Maggie. You didn't know her, didn't know any of them. But you did it anyway. I couldn't just let her drown. That's the thing, though. Most people could. Most people would have stayed hidden, stayed safe. Jenny shook her head. But not you. You chose to help, even when it cost you everything. Lena thought about that. She thought about her mother's words. Water is life and death. She thought about the choice she'd made, the dive into the darkness, the 9 minutes that changed everything. I didn't know it would cost me everything, she said finally. I just knew I couldn't live with myself if I didn't try. And now look at you, married, graduated, happy. Jenny smiled. You got the life you deserved, Elena. Finally. So did you. I'm working on it. Elena took her hand. You'll get there. I promise. How do you know? Because I did. And you're stronger than me. Jenny laughed. That's debatable. It's not. Trust me. They stood in comfortable silence. The music from the reception drifted across the water. I should get back, Elena said. Ghost will be looking for me. Go, be happy. You'll stay for the rest of the party. Wouldn't miss it. Elena hugged her one more time, then walked back toward the lights and the music and her family. Her family. The words still felt strange, wonderful, true. Ghost met her at the edge of the crowd. There you are. He pulled her close. I was starting to think you'd run off. Never. You're stuck with me now. Good. I like being stuck with you. They swayed to the music. Slow, easy, perfect. So, Ghost said, Mrs. Stone, how does it feel? Elena thought about it. How did it feel? It felt like waking up from a nightmare. Like stepping into the sun after years in the dark. Like breathing for the first time. It felt like home. It feels, she said slowly, like I finally know who I am. Yeah, who are you? Elena smiled, looked around at the people who loved her, the family she'd found, the life she'd built. I'm Elena Maria Stone, daughter of Maria Reyes and Maggie Stone, wife of Ghost, nurse, survivor, angel. She touched the rosary around her neck, the motorcycle charm, the wedding ring on her finger. I'm all of it, every piece, every story, every scar. Ghost kissed her forehead. That's a lot. Yeah, it is. You okay with that? Elena looked at the lake, at the dock, at the water that had changed everything. She thought about the girl she'd been, hungry, afraid, invisible. That girl was still inside her, would always be inside her, but she wasn't alone anymore. She wasn't invisible anymore. She was home. Yeah, Elena said, I'm okay with that. Ghost held her close. The music played, the stars shone down on Crescent Lake, where a runaway girl had once hidden in the shadows, and a drowning woman had once sunk to the bottom, and a miracle had once happened that changed both of their lives. Elena Stone looked up at the sky. I did it, Mama, she whispered. I found them. I found my family. Somewhere she could have sworn she heard her mother's voice. I know, mija. I always knew you would. Elena smiled, and finally, completely irrevocably, she let herself believe. She was Elena Maria Stone. She had been invisible. She had been broken. She had been lost. But not anymore. Never again. Because she had found what everyone spends their whole life searching for. She had found home. She had found love. She had found family. And she had found herself. Afe, angels forever. Forever angels. Forever home.